Well, I'm putting the breadboard ends onto the lid right now, and as you can see here, I've put elongated the hole on the bottom here, and the other two are just around their 1/4 inch holes. So what I'm attempting to do here is I'm going to glue this part up here and leave this just mechanically attached, so that when the board expands or contracts, it will be in this area down here. Now, as hot and humid as it is right now, I don't ever expect it to get larger. So this, in the wintertime, will shrink, and that's what I'm hoping for, because the hinges will be attached down here, and the board will come away from the top. So that's kind of the way I think about it. And so now I'm gonna add the glue, clamp these on, squeeze them down with, and then pound the pegs in. Well, we'll see how good I am at this measuring. So this is the loopers or lid supports, and this is the right one. So I drilled a 3/4 hole back here where I want it to stop, and it goes. So it's a good tight fit, but it will come out. I'm not going to glue it in or anything, because that's the only way to get the loopers out after it's assembled. So that's it. So it's where it's supposed to stop, I hope. Yep. And then we'll have a stop in the back here. Well, I'm putting the hinge mortises in now for the lid, the drop lid. And what I did was lay out where I wanted them, and then used a marking knife to scribe a line around there, and then set them in with the chisel. Along the line, and then I used my router plane still a little high. It needs to be, I can feel it over here. It needs to be a little deeper. Well, after routing the hinge mortises into the writing surface and the lid here, I attached them, and it's a pretty good fit, nice and tight. They might be a little bit deeper yet, but we got time. I'll be taking it off, of course, during finishing, but the loopers are all installed now, so it's time to start working on the bracket feet. Well, I thought before I got started on the bracket feet, I'd make the molding, the bottom molding. So I've got this OG router bit I've used. I think I used it even on the Townsend piece. But anyway, I like the shape that it makes here, which is, you know, a simple OG. And taking a piece of cherry stock, which was 1 1/8 inches thick, I was able to run it through the router, and then rip it off on the table saw, and keep doing that till I had a number of pieces. So now that I had made a number of the pieces here using the router bit, you can see I glued and nailed the piece, mitered it, and nailed it across the front here, and then made the matching molding on the side here, and of course mitered it. It's glued in the front, and it has a couple of nails in the back, so that should allow for the expansion without the molding coming off. By making multiple passes on the table saw with this setup, you can see how we're cutting an ellipse across here, and I'll keep raising it till I get to just under the line there, and then I'll be able to finish the rest of it with hand planes. Well, the stock for the bracket feet, curved bracket feet, is coming along here, but I don't remember it being so much work. Even though I cut out much of that cove with the table saw, rounding over, we're getting close to the line. But and of course I used my hollows and rounds to finish that out, and then I was doing some scraping on it as well to kind of smooth it over. So we got a little more to do here. Round that over, and I did of course make one of my scrapers to fit that shape there so that I could clean it up. Works pretty good. So you trace them facing each other so that when they go together, the grain runs continuously across the front of the legs. So I've got them traced out here. So the next thing to do would be to miter them along this edge, and then I'll do that on the chop saw, and then cut out the patterns. Well, I mitered the stock that after shaping it, so we got our 45s on here, and it comes together pretty good, and you can see the pattern traced onto the stock here. So the next thing to do is get on the bandsaw and cut that pattern out. So I've got to do it on both of the front ones, and then there's the two back ones. Well, I'm gluing up the bracket feet now, and as you can see, I got them taped together. This green tape stretches, and for me that seems to work about the best. Now I did pre-glue the end grain and let it dry so that this glue wouldn't soak in, and so I'm not using hide glue in this particular case. I'm using Titebond because, in fact, I don't want them coming apart. So got some dovetail work to do this afternoon. The rear feet have just the one leg on the side, and then on the back you've got this dummy that will be dovetailed in here like so, about like that. So it'll be half blind. So I'm chopping them out here, knocking out the pin. These are making tails. Well, I've got the bracket feet supports here glued in the back now, and it's dry, and wax paper is stuck to the bottom here. But anyway, I'll cut this off so that it's flush here with the bottom, and then there will be glue supports on the back side here. They'll be rounded over, so there'll be less chance of being able to see them. So it's like a quarter round. But I'll do that at the time I attach them to the bottom. And there they are. I got the feet on the bottom, and we got some glue blocks to add to it yet, but that's the way the thing's going to look. We'll zoom in here for a second and show you the 2 feet. They may not be perfectly aligned yet, but they're pretty close. Looking good.